Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the All British Motocross Podcast with myself, Ben Rumbold, and Dirt Hub founder Paul Ooten here on the Dirt Hub Network. So yeah, keep your mouse is pointed at dirthub.com across the winter to keep yourself all up to date with the latest news off-road. We're here to talk about the Motocross of Nations, of course, Monster Energy FAM Motocross of Nations that just took part just over a week ago. And of course, breaking down Weston and Weymouth beach races and a few little bits of news as well that's gone on there. So Paul, obviously, as we said just now before we went on air, getting a bit quiet now towards the winter, but yeah, starting to get built up for 2026 already.
Yeah, it feels like the weekend just gone when we had the Weymouth Beach race and the British Youth Motocross Championship finale as well. It sort of feels like that is the cut-off point now, and the season has sort of ended. I know there's Barmouth Beach race, I think that's this weekend, and a few other bits and bobs, but pretty much we have wound down. But it's been a full-on, well, obviously you know more than anybody, it's been a full-on year. But it certainly has, and it's been a full-on couple of weeks, really. Like I said, the Nations being on the same weekend as Weston, and the Coupe de l'Avenir, which I can never say, and that all on the same weekend. That was full on, to say the least. But it was good. It's great for the website for sure. Not quite so good for my family because I was full on all weekend. Nations is always entertaining. As we know, obviously not quite as entertaining watching on TV as it was last year, being there at Matley Basin. But you were there in the thick of it, mate. How was it stateside?
Pretty awesome. Yeah, man. Awesome. I mean, they took it to the next level with the parade on the Friday. I mean, if anybody saw glimpses of that or footage at all, they will know. But what an insane event. I mean, trying to think of a British town that's never. Can you imagine Winchester near Matterley, for example? That just the whole town, just literally the main high street, the main route through town, was just absolutely closed off, full of fans going bananas. The European sort of organizers were there like, do we need barriers? Do we need to stop the people walking into the track and or into the road? And nah, man, it's all good. And they it went off. It was like sometimes the pickup trucks, they had to slow to a complete crawl or almost to a standstill just because the crowd were just going crazy around them. So pretty insane. Most of the riders got involved with picking up chainsaws and revving them themselves and stuff like this. And yeah, it was bananas, and it went further on through the weekend. I mean, I would say it wasn't quite as ridiculous as R&A, because that is just crazy. But it was pretty amazing to see the packed hillsides there. But one scary moment for me was when they all turned around. The national anthem got played, and they all turned towards the flag on the hill. That was a bit scary. I was like, that's a bit weird. They literally all turned around, hands on heart. But I guess that's just the American way, so that's fair enough. But that was a bit bizarre. But from that side, I mean, yeah, they got behind the teams, and even great atmosphere cheering on the likes of Shimoda, Kenny, and the Lawrence brothers, of course. So yeah. And as for the results themselves, I mean, I think, it was as to be predicted. So, yeah, pretty cool.
I've actually just got our predictions up here, by the way, because I haven't worked out any points because I'm bagging the curry from the British round, so I didn't want to think. But to be fair, if it was double or quits, I think I might have just got it because so we both had Australia. I think there was no secret. I think anybody that didn't put them as favourites would have been on another planet, really. But you had Belgium as second, and I had USA as second, and Belgium third. We both had France as fourth. And you had Germany fifth, and I had the Netherlands fifth.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a massive shame for the Netherlands to sort of capsize there with Coldenhoff's crash, and it's got to be said that that was down to flagger error. That was pretty horrendous, and I don't think it's the first time we've seen this in the States this year either. So that's something that the American authorities really have to address, is this whole flagger situation, because Glenn was completely, he was just riding his own line, like there was nothing, as far as he knew, there was nothing in the way, and then suddenly there was a bike on track. So that was very, very bad. And yeah, we hope that Glenn's okay. And a shame for him, because that could well be his last Nations. He is not likely to line up next year here. So yeah, real shame for the Netherlands. Belgium kind of like had the Sasha factor, had the good and bad, because he won on the qualifying race on Saturday, looked very impressive. And then on Sunday, just a late crash, a bizarre one. Don't know what happened, but we saw only footage of a little pile with Cooper and Coonan together, and then Sasha's bike couldn't carry on. So that was a real blow for them. And yeah, to be fair, Lucas had a go with Jet, but Jet kind of roasted him, and it was a little bit like, okay, maybe not yet, but who knows? Next year, Lucas, I think, will take another step. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, amazingly, we saw that for the first time since the modern format, the three-rider format on different class bikes, first time ever that a team has stayed unchanged and retained the title from one year to the next. It's the first time that's ever happened, where exactly the same three riders on the same, in the same team have won 2 years in a row.
That's a crazy fact. And to be fair, you couldn't put it past them doing that three in a row. Carl Webster, like, he had everything chucked at him. And to be fair to him, he came back really, really strong for two good motos, didn't he?
Yeah, superb. I mean, yeah, he had the full factory Honda. I think he had Joe Shimoda's bike. Joe Shimoda was on Jet Lawrence's practice bike. Apparently, in a little note here for Honda, fair play to them, because I think they've virtually emptied the factory garage. All the standard bikes they have for parts and bits and pieces there were all cobbled together. I think Conrad and Josh rode a couple of their bikes. They had the Brazilian team getting in there as well. Lots and lots of help going around the whole paddock. So fair play to Honda and a few other manufacturers as well for helping out. Sort of helping to make sure we still had that 36 plus 37 countries, I think it was, to a part. So pretty cool from that side. But yeah, Kyle Webster was fantastic, coming off the floor both times in the first corner as well. That was no mean feat to come through and get the results that Australia needed. But it's massively helpful when I think you've got probably two of the best riders on the planet both on your team at the same time.
Yeah, to be fair, they are going to take some stopping, aren't they? Let's be fair, it's going to be good. Big one for me was Slovenia and Jan Panzer. Is it Panzer?
Panzer, yeah.
Panzer. Jan Panzer. Like, how good was he? Like,
yeah, really.
A privateer. Obviously, we've seen in the GP videos, the videos you've been doing and stuff. Like, this is a proper privateer family. Go racing with a trailer and work the nuts off all week to go racing, mixing it at the top of at the front of the Motocross of Nations. And you know what? He didn't fade either. And that's the thing. You kept expecting him to start sort of dropping back and back. But, for Slovenia to come fifth was phenomenal, really.
Yeah, superb. I mean, Jan is a tough customer, and he's also very good with hard pack and with heat. I mean, sand is a bit of an Achilles heel for him, which is possibly why he's not really looked at for a factory ride. If you closely analyze his sand results, they're not brilliant. But yeah, on hard pack and certainly in hot temperatures, like we've seen before in China and in Australia, he's very, very strong. And Ironman, I would say, was perhaps third hottest behind China and Australia this year. So yeah, he could cope with the heat. He's got great physical condition, and yeah, it's no nonsense. It's his dad, his mum, and his girlfriend, and a bike, well, two bikes and a trailer, and that's it. That's how he travels the world. Obviously, he's had a little bit of help to get things across there for Slovenia, which is brilliant. And yeah, a great ride. I mean, he held off Hampshire. He did a nice little veterans trick to keep Hampshire behind him, and hey, it worked. And he's third, only behind Hunter Lawrence, Jet Lawrence, Hunter Lawrence and Joe Shimoda were the only ones in front of him on full factory kit. So yeah, brilliant. And the likes of Maxime Renault, Calvin Vlanderen, these are the people in his class, and they were behind him. So he did fantastically well there. Yeah, it was a very impressive ride. Obviously, Tim does what Tim does. They just need Jaka Paklai to get into the top 20 instead of the top 35, and they've got a chance for a podium at there now.
Yeah, which, like I said, they've got two good riders. Like we always say, one good ride from the third rider, and it makes a massive difference. I was going to ask you, because just watching videos and seeing different stuff, how bummed were the Americans not to win? Because in my mind, I'd be like, do you know what? Second is going to be a good shot for us. Win on a good day, we could win this with the injuries they've had specifically as well. But from what I've seen and read, like they were properly pissed that they didn't win.
Well, that is Team USA. Let's face it. They before this year they had only lost once at home, which was when it all went south at Redbud in 2018. And yeah, I mean, if you look at Eli Tomac's record, he's only ever won a single Motocross of Nations in 6 attempts now as a team rider. He's only ever won in fact, he's won individually once and won as part of a and been part of a winning team, should we say, once. So, but they just want to win. They don't see anything less than that. I mean, you drive around the place. You have never seen so many massive flags. The big flag that was there above the track. Every European thought that was a big flag. You go around you drive for half an hour in America, you see 5 of those. It's just insane level of patriotism that I don't think many of us really comprehend. And yeah, anybody else up top, they're not happy. They don't accept it. And yes, they had their issues, and I think the team were behind the scenes were reasonably happy. Eli did not get the starts to compete with the Lawrences. That's kind of been the story all year, I think, over there. And RJ could have done better, but quite simply, when you hit the ground 7 times, it's not going to do well for you. So that was his issue. Cooper, I think Deegan could have been a much faster prospect, and I think that was the one that they missed the most, because Cooper was solid, but he's new on the bike, and it showed. I mean, he was still second in class behind Kyder Wolf, who was good, but let's not sugarcoat this for Kyder Wolf. He was not. This was not Ryan Villapoto at Redbud level. It was not. Sorry, not at Redbud at Budds Creek. It was not a dominant performance by a 250 rider, but it was very much a 450 track, very flowing, very fast, and also lots of. And saying that, a few stop-start bits where the power of the 450 really would have counted. So, yeah, eighth. I think eighth twice was De Wolf, and you probably could have thought if, I don't know, it would have been very interesting to see Hayden Deegan get up there. But I think with such late changes as they had, they're 14 points back, level on France, and there was a late pass by Isaac Gifting that put France below USA. Otherwise, they were third. So yeah, I think it's just a case of just injuries hitting you late, and you couldn't run your best riders. It's as simple as that. I mean, if one of the Lawrence brothers get hurt, you wouldn't see the Australians on the podium. Let's not forget that. If they lose a Chase Sexton level rider like the USA did, I very much doubt the Australians would even be 4th or 5th. So that's the story there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Team GB 16th. Quite a lot of bad luck there. Josh Gilbert in the first race, crashing with Ken Roxon. A nice video of Josh passing him back though. Like to see that. That was great. And I don't think a result tells the full story. Obviously, Dylan Walsh had 2 mechanical issues, which really, set us back really big time. Not great starts from Conrad either. And in that company, coming through the pack is not easy at all. And I think the thing is, it's easy to sort of look at their position, Josh's and Conrad's positions, and say, wasn't great. But when you look at who they beat and who were around them, like they were in the thick of some really big names. And I think you also have to understand where we are as a nation. Obviously, Ben Watson would have been pick number 1. He's been on the fringes of and in the top 10 of GPs, but that can happen. Max Anstey would have possibly been another. But yeah, you take maybe obviously Adam Sterry, but I think Josh and Conrad deserve to have been there. But yeah, it's a difficult one. I think as a nation we do have to sort of understand where we are at the moment in the pecking order, and where we stand is really, top 10's got to be our goal. And one good ride potentially from Dylan Walsh, which at times he looked like he had the pace to to get within the top 20. One good ride could well have nudged us up within that top 10.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Josh is one of those riders that I think really comes into his own in the team race. He really does ride for the team. We've seen this a few times with riders that just pull themselves forward from the position that they're normally in. And Josh, getting those starts, that shows exactly his mindset. He's far more fired up than perhaps maybe his teammates. I don't know, but I mean, he something in his brain clicks and he goes for it. And I mean, there's a shot of him that I freeze framed from behind the gate and put it onto the onto his comment online just to show him there, because it's like, you're in amongst the you got I think the first race it was got Jet Lawrence, Eli Tomac, Geister to the outside, Carrillo just behind, Febvre right there. It's just all around him, Roxon as well, are these legends, and he's right in the middle of them. So he certainly got the start. A great race for him. So I think that so unfortunate for him to drop down there. With Dylan Walsh, I mean, he was 16th in the qualifying race. And to give you context on that, he was 2 ahead of the Brazilian Bernardo Tiburcio, who has raced British Championship not so long ago. And then, also in front of him was Nico Groitman, the Swiss rider, who's an EMX 250 rider. Amongst that sort of company, you might expect Dylan to be a little bit higher. I certainly would have expected Adam Sterry to be higher than that. And that, I think, is the key point. I think if you had Sterry in there, I think we would have been getting at least 10 positions better. And then that would have put us up into, not quite the top 10, but much closer. In terms of Conrad, I mean, I often compare him to Harry Koulis because obviously they raced close together at the British Championship the first time that Conrad was in the 450 class. Koulis's results were like 19th, 21st, which is only a few ahead of Conrad at that time. So we all know Conrad's speed at home, but we also know he's never produced that overseas. So it's a real shame, and we know how well they can ride. But like you said, I think it's a measure of where we are. If we're relying on Max Anstey and Tommy Searle to drag our butts forward, we just need to basically get our youth riders up a level, and it's as simple as that, really. I think that's the message that comes out of the nations for all the British Championship. The ACU structure is building people, building our young riders up towards that level is what we need to do now. And I think. I discussed it with somebody. It might have been you, in fact, that said let's get our young riders to Ernée. Whether they're racing or not, get them in and around the paddock, get them sampling this atmosphere, get them used to the madness, and knowing what it is. And for me, it would be great to see like some young riders seeing this and thinking, I want a slice of this. I want to be in there in the Team Union Jack colours, and I want to do my stuff. And that's the sort of response that we need from our young boys to get up there. But hey, there we are. Well, it was, like you say, it reflects where we are, really, and that's the truth of it.
Yeah, and they did that in Speedway. Like the under 21 guys. They were part of the the senior Speedway of Nations, so they were part of it. They took them there. They give them the experience, so they could see what was going on. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. And one rider that did massively get the experience, the full-on Ironman experience, Drew Stock, getting on the podium. What a great ride from Drew. What a fantastic year Drew has had, getting on another very mature ride. He has put in some cracking performances this year, and how great. The only British rider we had a Yamaha UK rider, Nixon Cobbins, coming fourth in the 85s, but a proper British rider then, Drew Stock, getting on the box in America, surrounded by Americans, Canadians, Australians. He was doing it for Europe massively, and obviously the Union Jack. And just such a gritty rider. I think some of his rides this year have been outstanding. Not like we said before, not just in speed, but in the maturity of knowing where you are in the race, knowing where your opposition is in the race, and just track craft really beyond his years.
Yeah, and he moved forward into that third place as well. Like he was around about fifth or sixth after a few minutes there. So it wasn't the perfect gate start set up for him. So he moved forward from where he was. And I tell you, we were getting pumped. I was in amongst the UK guys, making sure I wasn't on camera because I had my in-front gear on at the time. But yeah, just like getting pumped to see him move forward because he was doing so, making progress. And yeah, then he made the pass into third place with a lap to go. And that was fantastic. And it was a good, strong pass. The other rider tried to come back at him and hit the ground doing so. Not something that Drew did to him at all. So yeah, it was great because yeah, he really did show his mettle there, and he put the Union Jack up on the flagpoles, which is all we can hope for. I mean, the young American that won it was a little whippet, like such a tiny little rider. So he was crazily small. So he certainly had a advantage off the gate, Sasha Coonan style. And yeah, they just couldn't catch him, to be fair. He rode very well. So yeah, for Drew, a superb result, a fighting result that shows, yeah, there is a bit of future. And yeah, if Drew can take that attitude moving forward and he can show that attitude to the Yamaha brass and they give him a good ride that works out better than Jamie Keith did this year, that's the key part. So yeah, for me, as Drew Stock and his family going into the winter, that would be a nice little trophy to have on the put it on the gym shelf so that it motivates you when you get near that Stairmaster.
Cool, and I think I think it will. You could just see it. He really wants it, and yeah, been well impressed. Talking about flying the flag, then, so we've got to talk about the coupe because Team GB did come second to France, and there were some outstanding performances as well. Big one was Harley Marzak. Is that how you say it?
Holly Marjak, yeah.
Yeah, winning the 85cc class. But we did really well. Ollie Waters as well had a second and a win in the 85cc class. We actually won that one. But yeah, all the way through, some fantastic performances from the British riders and the families. And speaking to Dave Willett, he said the commitment from the families and the young riders themselves. There's a lot of effort there, and yeah, like I said, we sort of and we talked about it a lot, but these are the kids that we need to be looking at in I suppose for some of them it's only a few years time that they're going to be in the EMX 125s and 250s, and that's where we've got to see. I don't know, within that 4 or 5 year period, potentially some of these kids really should be in MX2 GPs. Like that is where we have a massive gap at the moment. So somewhere along the line, whether it's an ACU thing, a Team GB thing, or if we all come together as a sport, somewhere along the line, we need to do something to support these guys, given the backing, because it can't be easy, for these guys to travel. We've seen a lot of the kids riding in the European rounds. There's a lot of undertaking for these families to do. That's a massive amount of commitment. So somewhere along the line, we've got to be supporting families and these riders to get them to that next level, because we have a massive gap at the moment, and we need to fill it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in all honesty, it's almost getting to the point where I'm not getting too excited about the coupe results anymore because we've seen these for years and years. The 65s, the 85cc classes, they do produce some great results. We are producing riders. We're producing as much good talent as any other country, as far as I can tell. And yeah, that shows there in the 85cc results. Marjak won race two. Ollie Waters won race three, and was second in race two. So we had a 1-2 there in race two, which is amazing. But let's just watch in the future where those names around him. Tim Lopes, for example, Tim Lope, the French kid. Let's just watch what happens to these riders in the future. That is the thing we need to watch for, because somehow, like you say, we're not building the bridge. The bridges aren't there to go from strong youth riders to MX2 World Championship races, top 10 races. I mean, Bobby Bruce got close, and that's the most recent sort of rider we've had, but he's now had to drop back to EMX 250 again. So it's so frustrating because we are producing the talent, but somewhere along the line, we're not giving them that boost to go through and make the best of it on the world level. And that's really what this country needs. I keep saying it, but I think it all the time, is that we have got a great fan base in this country. We know as soon as a British rider does well on the world level, I can see on the MXGP socials, most of the appreciative texts are from British fans going, "Wow, great stuff, well done," and it's there's definitely the passion there, and it just needs one or two or three riders to get up there and give us some hope of some British success. And I'm sure you'll see, the valleys of Matterley or wherever the British GP is, you'll see them much more stacked up. So yeah, for sure, the coupe is great, but I'll be impressed when we get some of those riders transfer into winning EMX 250 and getting into MX2.
It's a little diversion from that, just because you hit on something. So, Matterley Basin, one thing we definitely lacked was the British rider to cheer on, and we've sort of seen that. We love that, even if it's EMX or whatever it may be, to have a British rider at the sharp end to cheer on is huge.
We did get it in. We did get it in a couple of the EMX races.
We did. But a continuous sort of, like we had people like Brad Anderson and the Two Straight guys, duking it out for right at the sharp end. I'm talking like for wins and stuff. Like, how cool would that be? But
we might have it next year in the women's with Lucy Barker.
Yeah, absolutely. How great is that? Now, I've heard some rumours. Rumours abound about the GP. So the three different venues I've heard for the British GP, because the date has been put out there, but it's got venue to be confirmed. I've heard Foxstills, Monster Mountain, and obviously Matterley in the mix. So it'd be interesting to see if we are going to get a different venue for the GP for 2026. Be interesting to see it back at Foxstills. A bit of nostalgia there. Monster Mountain, obviously, the guys there have put so much work in. In terms of commitment to the sport, you've got to give it to those guys there. The Monster Masters Midweek Series was a huge success. And Matterley, obviously, we love Matterley. Like, it's an absolute stunning track. You can see it all. Yeah, so three venues out there. I know in official capacity, you might have to just say no comment. But yeah, where would you like to see it out of them three? Or might even know, you might have something up your sleeve that you can't tell me. There might be a fourth option in there.
Let me put it this way. Okay, so yeah, obviously, Foxhill. There's other websites have spoken about this, and it's no secret that Foxhill is being considered, and that's fantastic. I'm very local to Foxhill, so I'm quite happy to have it here and sleep in my own bed. But Foxhill will be fantastic. I hope. I mean, if they get it, brilliant. And let's hope that it is to the good standard. I mean, there have been issues at Matterley behind the scenes. Things like the nation's internet service was pretty rough at times. So yeah, there have been issues there, and who knows? I mean, I'm sure that Matterley and Steve and his team are working hard to keep it there, and it's still a great venue. It's still a great track. They had a bit of a blip with I think track preparation was an issue this year, but it was very dry, so we don't know. But yeah, I've heard Foxhill, Monster Mountain. I'm not so sure. They are ambitious. I know that Gareth Hockey was talking about it a couple of years ago that he'd fancy an MXGP of Wales there. But I'm not sure if there's the infrastructure because it's pretty much middle of nowhere. So I don't really know. However, I have also heard another track in the mix where the team owner was, where the track owner was waving an in-front business card at me at the British Championship Round 2-day event there.
Say that again. Went straight over my head.
So the team owner at this particular venue, who ran 2 days of the British Championship this year, was waving around an in-front card. So I think they are quietly considering themselves in the mix.
Right. Okay.
Which would be north of the border.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
So
that would be.
They are ambitious and they have the space. So yeah, that's a very interesting scenario. But yeah, there we go.
Watch this space then. The other one I was going to say on that one is obviously Guy Martin it's gone a bit quiet, but a few rumours have been cropping up about him again, actually, about his track, which, it sort of went big. Maybe went too big too early. Talking about bringing a GP round to that track because it falls way, isn't it? And then went really quiet pretty quickly too. But I've heard sort of rumblings about that one sort of coming back into the fold. So yeah, could be interesting.
Yeah, I think you need to. I mean, Matterley is a bit of an exception to the rule, but I think you need to run a British Championship or something like that first before you start talking about GPs there. Because Thorsway has been touted as a British Championship, funny enough, as recently as sort of 2022, but not happened. So who knows? But I think personally it'd be great to see it at Fox Hill, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it back at Matterley. I think it's just exciting that there's competition, really, and it's good that we've got it on a decent May date. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, which is cool. Going back to I've got so much on my list here, so I'm going to go back now to the Motocross of Nations weekend, which was also the Weston Beach race. Wow. Gareth Hockey and his team were up against it. Storm Amy. It was Amy, wasn't it? Storm Amy put pay to Saturday's action. So they had to cram everything into Sunday. And a big call to action from Gareth Hockey to the motocross community to get to the track at first thing Sunday morning to get all the barriers put up, which must have been a massive job. So our sport has got the character, has got the heart, because I think, Gareth and his team were just so heartened to see. And putting an event on of that scale must be so hard. So I think that really did give the RHL team heart to see so many people turn out and help. And they got all the racing in. Obviously, the races were shorter, but they get all the racing in one day. So just a big shout out to Gareth, but also his team, and also all those people that went out and volunteered, because fair play to them getting up so early. And fair play to Todd Kellett for making it title number 7.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few Storm Amy's disrupt my life over the years, so it's no surprise that was the name of the storm, to be honest with you. But what is it about Amy's? They're always nuts. But yeah, either way, yeah, I mean, stunning. And a great job by RHL. You wouldn't expect any less. And apparently it's rekindled his fire. So he's keen to maybe look at organising some more. But yeah, Todd Kellett pretty much been in that sort of going. So that's pretty special as always.
Yeah, so Todd Kellett took his 7th win, then did it against Super Enduro World Champ then Billy Bolt. And Dan Fornell took the 3rd and final podium spot then, a good ride from Dan Fornell. Shane Carlos was 4th. We'll talk a bit more about Shane Carlos a bit later, but 4th for him. Not been doing a lot at all really recently. And then David Knight, MBE, was 5th and was the top over 40 rider. So yeah, some really good performances there. A few other mentions. Lucy Barker won the ladies class, ahead of Rhea Truman and Christina Pillar. Then loads of others to mention here. So Harry Walker, like what a year it's been for Harry Walker in the quads then. British and European quad cross champion, and now sticking it on the top step then at Weston Beach race as well. Sidecar wise, we had it was a total defense for Alan Davies and James Ferguson in that one. So it was a really good ride by them. Youth classes then, Reece Jones won the 250s. Ryan Wagger, who we know all about from his MXGP exploits this year, was 125 winner. In the 85s, then it was Casey Lister. Then Miley Evans was the girls 85cc champion. John Slade was the top small wheel rider. And Preston Chorley won the 65cc race. So yeah, all of that was crammed into one day. So fair play for everybody for getting that in. That must have been some undertaking. And you did say that Gareth Hockey was buoyed by the support So much so that he put a social media post out saying who wants a Pro Motocross Championship in 2025, another one. 2025, 26. We've already done 25. That would be cramming it in even more. But yeah, so he is sort of put it out there. And I have heard various rumours that there is going to be another Pro Motocross Championship next year. Whether that or not that is the Gareth Hockey one that he's alluding to or something else. Obviously, we've had the Nora Pro Motocross Championship try and do something over the last couple of years, not quite come off. But yeah, could there be another championship next year?
I think it's highly possible and highly likely. I mean, we hear this quite a lot. There's too many series. But in truthfulness, for a pro rider, if you're not going to do GPs, and let's face it, not many of our lads are good to do that now. I think that there should be a chance for them to still earn more money in this country, and obviously the MX Nationals disappeared because that team then took over the British Championship themselves. I think RHL is too strong an organisation, and I think Gareth's too strong a character to be limited to just the beach race each year. So for me, I was surprised that nothing happened this year, and I think personally it's waiting for his organisation to get in there and organise something. So we'll see what goes on there. I think that it's got every chance because the NPC has kind of stuttered to get off the ground. Not quite sure what's going on there. I think they were hoping for tracks to come from the MOD links, and they haven't quite because of, I don't know, administration or various issues there with getting MOD land used. That's been a real stumbling block for that championship, and it's a shame that their ambitions haven't taken off. But I think that RHL obviously they've got this link with Nora now, so it might well be that they take that over as well. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I do think that I've got a lot of time for Gareth Hockey. They got me into the British Championship at the first place, I do think that you can say what you like about Gareth. He's a character. You even put on social media last night, like, I love hearing about these rumours. And even I don't know what the rumours were he was referring to. But yeah, I think that I think he's too. I mean, why step on this guy? He really wants to get stuck in. He really wants to get it done. He showed that at the beach race, and the results from the beach race even sort of reignited the fire, as he said. So yeah, I hope that Gareth still has a series in him. Because it's unlikely that I'll work it because it's going to clash with MXGP. So I'm not saying it for personal gain. I'm just saying that I think that he still has a lot to give to this sport in the country.
Interesting you say that about Nora, but the Weston Beach race was Nora in 2024. In 2025, it was the ACU, but at the end of 2024, Gareth took over the BSMA.
Yeah.
So like,
but BSMA had massive issues, didn't it?
It sort of didn't really finish the 2024 season. So, the BSMA Championship, I suppose, is up for grabs in that respect, although that wasn't necessarily a pro championship. But yeah, so Gareth has sort of got fingers in quite a few pies in that respect. But I suppose that keeps, his options open on which way he wants to go. I don't think that really makes a difference to riders, really, apart from maybe another license fee. But yeah, will be interesting to see. Like I said, we sort of have got that gap there, haven't we, from where the fastest 40 MX Nationals was. We always had that in there. So it does feel like there is a little bit of a, well, no, not even a little bit. There is a big gap there for pro racing in this country. And I think if the British Championship is growing stronger, which it certainly had a good year, then yeah, I think these riders need to have a chance to earn a bit more money, have more races under their belt, more experience, especially for the younger guys as well, because it does make a difference. One rider who's going to be getting some racing under his belt, sort of moving on from that one, which could rumble through the winter. That is something we'll keep talking about. And I did a social media post about it and a little article, and it got quite a varied reaction, with people saying, we've got too much, focus on one, to others saying there should be more. But yeah, quite mixed on that one. But one rider who's not going to be riding as much in the UK is Brad Todd, who's then committed to racing in America. Done a few rounds. I think he did one in 2024. I think he did 3 or 4 last year, and the last round being his best. But he's going whole hog United States in 26, which is going to be great to see because obviously Brad is a character. He's a proper British rider. He does not give up at all. But yeah, he's just, he's living out a lot of our dreams, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I work with Joe Huskane, who sorts things out for. Well, he does Brad's vlogs as part of his Too Much Sauce business, and yeah, for sure. Brad loves it, Joe loves it, and the American Nationals have got their own thing going on that's completely different to MXGP. There's you can argue back and forth about which is better and all that sort of business, but the key thing is that obviously, the AMA has money to throw at it. That's what happens when you sell 17 weeks with 60,000 spectators in stadiums. You're going to have cash to hand, which MXGP hasn't got. So that's why they can afford to pay prize money and sort things out that way. And I mean, fair play. If Brad wants to get out there and enjoy it, there's nothing. Then fair play to it. It's something that, like you say, a lot of riders would do. And it's a shame that we lose a rider from the British scene in that way, although he still will come back, of course. But to almost link back to the previous conversation, if there are gaps in the calendar, then some of these higher end top 5 to 10 British Championship riders have got the option to go to America and give that a try, or ride some GPs if they want that experience. That there are those options. So maybe another series might limit those options, but it will give riders from like 10th to 30th more than just center races to focus on. So I think that's where the place lies for another possible championship. But as far as Brad goes, obviously, there's precedence there. Harry Koulis has gone out there to earn a good living. So has Valentin Guyot. And I think below the top 5 or 6, the level is probably slightly lower in the US than it is in MXGP. In terms of like the outdoor talent, okay, you've got your stratospheric stars that are amazing, but I think you certainly scrape below the top 5, certainly below the top 10. I don't think it's any more difficult to get into that 10th to 20th range in AMA racing than it is in MXGP. I think that is certainly something that is possible for riders like Brad, and if he can get into the points and earn himself some good wedge, fair play to him. What's to stop him? Brilliant.
Well, we're going to have a chance to find out a bit more about it because he's going to come on the show the next one, basically. Cool. He's away on holiday at the moment. Otherwise, he would have been on this one. But we got enough to talk about anyway. So, yeah, that's Brad Todd. So we'll catch up with him. In terms of other team news in the UK, it's not been a massive amount. But one of them, one team announcement has been John Adamson, then going to the Phoenix Tool Fantic team. Not just that is the news, but the fact he's dropping down to MX2 and he's going to be on a 2-stroke. John Adamson is full send at the best of times. John Adamson in MX2 on a 2-stroke is going to be pretty darn good to watch.
Yeah, that's going to be entertaining. I mean, John's entertaining anyway. Let's face it, he's a wild man and he's flat out. And congratulations to John as well on his recent wedding. Of course, he got married there to Olympic runner Gemma Reekie. So I'm sure that was a party and a half. So yeah, fair play. And yeah, for sure, I think that's exciting. I mean, I think he was getting a little bit on the dangerous side with the 450. He is, he's not the tallest of riders. And I think, certainly, we're gonna have to ask Brad about John Adamson after that move at Duns. I mean, Lordy. But yeah, so I think it's going to be good to see him down there. I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, get in there, 2 strokes. Certainly, it will sharpen up some of our younger lads to compete against John on a 2-stroke. I think that's going to be something more for them to deal with, which is all the more experience. So yeah. bring it on. And that Phoenix Tools team got a lot of time for them. Barry and his crew, Barry Morris and his crew were absolutely spot on. So yeah, it'd be good to see them pick up as solid a charger as John is.
Yeah, and there's not much, more to report on the British side. I know Charlie Heyman is staying with the SC Sport Homes team. Been a really good year for Charlie.
And
GP
Tristan
side,
Purdon isn't.
no,
Tristan
Tristan
Purdon
Purdon's not. No, so that'd be
That's
interesting.
a shame, but we'll see.
Yeah, but GP wise, obviously loads of rumors. Like it's just crazy rumors. But Kai de Wolf going up to MXGP. That is going to be really interesting to see. And Jago Geertz being dropped by Yamaha, the two sort of standout bits of news so far, I'd say.
Yeah, and Brian Boger is obviously retiring, which is a shame, but I think highly expected because yeah, he's getting to that age now, and his results this year weren't brilliant. So yeah, from that side, I mean, let's talk about the Jago first, then we'll end on the positive with MXGP. Jago here, people are wondering why he was dropped. I mean, he had that one fluke qualifying race win in Spain where he got the whole shot in the mud, stayed there. Febvre got past him. Febvre crashed. Here took the win, but that was it. That was the one shining light. A best of fourth in a race, and that was at Latvia where he's won 2 or 3 MX2 GPs around there, and that was his best overall weekend of 6th place. But 12th in the championship, level on points with Bogers. He was only like 20 points ahead of Paul's Jonas, who missed 8 GPs. So, in terms of factory riders behind him, it really was only the beta riders and Guadagnini, who's been struggling on that Ducati all year. So there aren't many factory riders behind Jago, and that is the issue. You've got Vlaanderen up there, 6th in the world, a couple of podiums, and of course you've got Renault, who could have been a title challenger had he not got injured. So I don't think it's the bike that's the issue, or is it Jago adapting to the 450 and just keep punishing himself? But he lost MX2 World Championships because of crashes, and the 450 isn't as forgiving. So it's just a case of, is he going to ever be able to master a 450? And if you're Yamaha, I mean, I visited that Yamaha garage as part of my work with Infront, and they want a title like nothing else. They have got a new garage, a new facility, a new workshop. It's an amazing facility. They've spent the money. They really, really, really want the results now. So they've taken on Tim Geiser, and yeah, they would want the strong backup. I think Renault is on his way. I think they wanted to keep Renault, but he doesn't want to share the garage with Tim. So it just depends if Carvin is going to be able to keep his seat or not. I think that would be a strong backup. But yeah, for sure, that team is ambitious. And I'm afraid with Jago, 2 years of beating himself up on the 450, it's no surprise that they've gone, enough is enough. And to my mind, I think for Jago, it's probably not a bad idea. Somebody online said that I think Fantic would be a good fit, but don't forget Fantic are moving teams as well. So Louis Vosters will not be running the Fantic operation. I think it's going to be Jackie Martins, but that's not to be confirmed yet. So yeah, I think for Jago, it all depends on where he lands, but I think it might be better just to have that pressure off and just get stuck into enjoying his racing again, because he has to stay 450, and he's got to figure out how to ride one really fast.
Yeah, interesting.
But then on the plus side with MXGP, I cannot wait for next year. I mean, you've already got Lucas Coonan shaking them up. His rivalry with De Wolf was like fireworks all year in 2024. So to see them back together racing again for a start is amazing. Then you throw in Hurling's on a Honda, Tom Vial on a Honda is coming back, Tim Geiser on the Yamaha, whatever Renault's doing. I think he's probably on a Ducati, but we'll see. Yeah, I think he's just it's just mouth-watering. Febvre's back as a defending champion on the Kawasaki as well. Jonas is still in there. Serious talent in MXGP, and it's great to see. I was really worried that we'd lose a lot of riders. We still might lose a lot of riders from the World Championships in years to come, but for now, 2026 looks like awesome. Let's have it.
Yeah, it does look pretty spicy, I have to say. Yeah, really excited by that. Loads more announcements to come. Obviously, you alluded to some of them that are not,
not official yet.
Not official, but pretty much everybody knows what's going down in that one. So looking forward to them being sort of nailed on. And yeah, starting to see how the championships are building up in terms of who's going to be where there. Hopefully we'll see a few more shocks in there, like Kai moving up, because I didn't see that one coming.
Well, there's rumours about Adamo as well, which would be pretty cool. And I've heard Langenfelder's staying MX2, but he's going to the he's going to basically take Adamo's seat in the Austrian factory KTM, not Ducati team. But yeah, apparently I've heard, and Andrea Adamo might also be moving up. So that's 2 MX2 World Champions graduating. So
Wow.
have it.
Yeah. Nice. Very good. I'm trying to look. I've lost where I was on my list here. Got a big list.
Arena Cross, we're going to talk about.
Arena Cross, yeah. So Arena Cross, I've announced. So in the United Kingdom, we've got Belfast, a double header there, and Birmingham, and those are the only UK dates. Obviously, going to push towards the Middle East. But one of the big things on the PR that came out yesterday was the fact that they're going to make Birmingham pretty special, and we know Matt Bates has got the ability to make things special because that's what he does, and he does it excellently. But even more interesting is the 2017. They're going to sort of turn it into more of a pretty much what they're saying, or what I class it as, is it's going to be the dirt bike show with Arena Cross built into it, basically.
2027. Yep.
Yeah, 2027. So, yeah, there is definite gap there for dirt bike show, because I've missed it. I used to love my trips to Stoneleigh, and back in the day, for those who remember Bristol,
Yeah, man.
mate, that was unreal. Just could not carry enough stickers back from Bristol. Literally just armfuls of stickers and free shit. Honestly, yeah, we're showing our age now, but Bristol. If anybody went to Bristol, they know what we're talking about. Bristol was unbelievable.
Bristol's fun.
Yeah, but had some great years at Stoneleigh as well. So yeah, I do think there is a definite need for some sort of show, and if it's shaped around Arena Cross, I think that's a pretty good shout. To be fair, not sure on time of year though, but it could be a good launch. It could be where we do the PR launch for the British Outdoor Championship as well. Maybe a lot of things could be tied into that as a season kickstart type thing. But yeah, Matt Bates always full of innovations and pushing the sport. So yeah, I think there's exciting things to come for that one.
Yeah, I mean, there's often the criticism of these shows that it's just a glorified supermarket. It just basically gives everybody a chance to sell lots of things, and that's obviously the main reason. But excuse me. But yeah, for it to be linked in with an Arena Cross race, wow, that would be pretty impressive. That would need a serious facility as well. Let's not forget how much that would be. But then, is it going to be the size of Motorcycle Live in the NEC? Probably not. So, if you have that sort of size of place and they've got a spare hall to accommodate Arena Cross as well as the show, then yeah, why not? It should be that could be a really good idea. So yeah, let's see what they can do. I mean, the good thing is with Matt and everything and that team is that they are super positive. They always try to push forward, and it would be great to see that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, he says it's going to be the only one in England, which is pretty wild because then you're taking out Manchester and Wembley and but you are still leaving avenues that they could well go to Aberdeen again, and who knows if there's something going to be happening maybe in Wales. So there's plenty of options there, and they are ambitious. But as always with Arena Cross, it's like, let's see what happens. Whatever happens, they're going to put the maximum behind it. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they deliver because the series has got real potential.
A couple of years ago, I remember going to Birmingham, and they almost did this. They had a separate hall where they sort of had a few stands. It was more for sponsors and partners of the championship, but that was a massive hall, and it wasn't filled by any stretch of the imagination. So they sort of almost done it and tested the water. So all it is really probably making that more commercial version of what they've done before. So yeah, it's certainly not out of the realms of possibility of what they've already done, to be fair.
Yeah, you've got the riders there, the teams there, the industry's there. So if you have a race there at the same time, why not bring it? It's this is a great option, and you can have all sorts of post-race things happen, or even pre-race things. I mean, they could have the show in the day and then the racing at night. There's all sorts of different possibilities you can have. So yeah, let's have a look at it. Let's be. I mean, as we saw with the Arena Cross Fest a couple of years ago, Matt's not shy of trying these few ideas. AX Fest was a mad little weekend, and I'm sure many people have good memories from that weekend. So, if they're going to do something similar to that, even then that would be also pretty cool. So we'll see what they can bring. But as always with Matt, you're going to get something a bit different, which is nice.
Yeah, you never know. Matt is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And, and that makes it exciting, to be fair. And I was disappointed this year, to be fair, that he didn't run around with the British Championship, because I liked the outdoor championship, because I'd like to see what he would have done with that. Because the pro nationals were fantastic back in the day, and I would like to see something replicated on that sort of scale as a round of the British Championship. But maybe in the future. Talking of British Championships,
yep.
So I could segue into it. We did have the final round of the Youth British Championship at the weekend, run by Colin and Julie Hambridge, known obviously for the Bridgestone British Masters, which finished a couple of weeks ago as well. So we crowned our new 2025 British Youth Motocross Champions. So I'm going to give them a rundown. 65cc Forrest Roberts. I've got Arthur King, Small Wheel 85, Joel Winstanley Dawson, Big Wheel 85. The youth was George Cork. The women's was Libby Chatburn. Clubman MX1, so the Clubman MX1 British Championship and MX2 ran alongside the youth. Then in MX1 we had Charlie West and MX2 Corey Collins. So well done to all those guys, and well done for Colin and Julie for stepping in and making a great championship for the youth as well. As they do with the Bridgestone, they run great events, and good job done by them. Moving on from that, I was at Weymouth. Nice for me. I can walk to Weymouth from my house to the beach. So for me, it's a dream being able to walk down there to the beach. Weather was pretty darn good, to be fair. And do you know what? It just feels like it gets busier every year. It's really hard to find a spot in there, because it was just rammed. It was like 7 deep. Well, I always remember being amazed when it was about 5 deep, and like you just couldn't hardly see anything. But it was about 7 deep. But it was really good. Coming away with the expert win was Shane Carlos. He looked real good. Had a chat with him. He worked his nuts off. He's 37. He said it about 4 times. He wanted me to know that he was 37. Hasn't really been racing at all properly for a good few years, but he worked really hard. He desperately wants a podium at Weston. Obviously, he was 4 seconds off Dan Fornell this year, but he was determined, and he showed it. Charlie Putnam was fast, but did make a few mistakes. But I think Shane Carlos was just there to win. Simple, was just really fast and really sharp. James Dodd, who's had a phenomenal year, winning the Service Amateur Nationals and the AMCA British Championship. He comes second overall. Didn't have good starts either. Had to do it the hard way. And Davey Pooches. I've got an interview to put up with him, actually. Davey Pooches was third. He had a nightmare. He had a crash in one, which put him pretty much right to the back. His bike didn't start. I think another one put him right at the back. But he was pulling through. Like, we're talking, I think there's 70 or 80 riders in the expert class. And he was really pulling in some laps to fight his way through. I think the team were miffed. They wanted him to, they expected him to win, I think, to be fair. But, he did look good. But yeah, for someone who hasn't really ridden much, he looked very, very fast indeed. But yeah, there's a few underdogs. Do you know what? It's the first Weymouth Beach race. You always get the same riders towards the front, and there was a few underdogs. I'm going to mention it. I think it was James Bates who comes second in the first race, and just out of the blue. And I had to go up and say, this sounds really bad, doesn't it? But I had to go up and say, "Who are you, mate?" It's like he was unreal.
Who are you?
Yeah, and so I asked James Dodd about this, and James didn't realise he was battling him for second place because he didn't know who he was. And like,
amazing.
Yeah, love an underdog story. And there was another dude as well on Husqvarna. In the second race, he was right up the front, and think his name was Luke. I'm going to find out who he is because I think these guys need a mention because yeah,
Lewis Pine, would it be?
that's him. Yeah,
Lewis
he,
Pine took 5th place, yeah?
yeah, he was right up there though, early doors, like right up there. And to be honest, he could have well been higher, but he'd come off. But yeah, these two guys made it really interesting to see some new guys up there. So fair play to those guys. Charlie Putnam, like I said, was really fast, but had a few falls that hampered what his results there. I'd say the best racing though was the vets.
Right, okay.
Yeah, Jim Davies and Daryl Bolter, enduro guy, as we know, those two, both races were literally going at it for the whole time. They had a bit of a collision over a jump. There was a guy down just after a jump, and they couldn't see him, and they both plowed into him. Luckily, the guys told me he's sort of sore, but he's up. But they both got up and carried on their battle, and then it happened again in race 2. That they just could not be separated. Yeah, really good racing in the vets over 40. Only been going a couple of years, that one. Give a shout out to a friend of mine, John Gill. Give me a lift home as well. So thanks to John and his family. But John, on his relic of a KTM 2-stroke, comes 6th overall in the vets. But yeah, no, really good Weymouth Beach race, to be fair. Really always enjoy it, but why wouldn't I? I can walk there.
I'd on that note as well, I had a good weekend there at the weekend before the Nations. The Compass Cup was a great weekend there for up at Cullen. We had a little bit of weather to deal with at the start of Sunday, but it cleared up, and yeah, the live stream was interesting. Obviously that's out there for people to check out, and yeah, Peterborough Junior Motocross Club took their win there. So the race report's coming. Apologies guys, it's been a bit crazy, so yeah, that's a bit late, but I'll get that race report done, and that'll be on the site very soon. But yeah, the Compass Cup was a really good weekend, some good riding there. John Slade was on good form, and yeah, there's a few other guys with good standout rides. So yeah, from that side, that was a good weekend. And what was quite bizarre on that, I had a text message from Matt Bates saying, "Are you commentating at Cullen?" And I'm like, "What? Where are you? Where are you?" And apparently he was like at the back of his house, a few yards up the bank there. So yeah, that was quite bizarre. But there you go. Hopefully Matt liked what he heard, and I can get on the commentary in the arena cross. But we'll see.
Did he tell you to turn it down? Was that what it
Yeah,
was?
he said, stop talking bollocks. Never. But yeah, pretty cool, pretty nice event.
No, fair play. So that's pretty much it. I think we've covered a hell of a lot, to be fair, but that is pretty much what's been going on. Off season now, team announcements. Obviously, a lot of dates already out there, but you know, I'm sure there'll be venues being put to dates and all that sort of stuff, and a little shuffle. Will there be any MXGP calendar shuffles? Do you reckon, Ben, or are we all good this year?
Not sure if there's going to be any changes at the moment. There is a TBC completely to be confirmed date in the middle, which is exactly where the Finnish GP was last year, and rumors were that was quite a nice event for everybody. So not quite sure why it's not announced immediately, but I fully expect that to be the gap in the schedule filled there. And then yeah, the first round is completely up in the air at the moment as well. I've heard rumors, but I better not say. So yeah, but I think it will be another flyaway before Argentina if that goes ahead, but we'll see. And obviously Hawkstone is literally just a week before that. The Nations also comes about just a week after the end of SMX, which apparently is a good thing for the Americans because yeah, they don't have that extra week of kind of lull between races. So apparently that is a good thing for them. Although they might not think that if it's Assen next year in 27, but we'll see.
Yeah, interesting. Right. Well, I will let you go, mate. And
Yep.
yeah, no, I think we've pretty much covered everything that's happened over the last couple of weeks. And yeah, we'll catch up Brad Todd next up. So we'll catch up with what's been going down and see what Brad has to say about his American trip.
Yep, can we go? Nice. Well, thanks everyone for joining us on the Dirt Hub All British Motocross podcast. Myself, Ben Rumbold, and Dirt Hub founder and boss Paul Ooten. Been a nice season, of course, and yeah, join us very soon for Brad Todd's take on things, and we'll reflect further on any news that happens in between now and then. But in the meantime, keep your browser pointed at dirthub.com. Get all your news through in the off season. Speak to you soon. See you out there.